Hey guys, what is going on? Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, back again with another video. Thanks for stopping by the channel, checking it out. Really appreciate it. Been doing a lot of Rands and new spotlights. You guys seem to like that, so that's great. This is going to be a Rands rant, as I try to do one every day, talking about different topics. And this one's going to be about Phil Spencer going on Podcast Unlocked, right? Ryan McCaffrey does a pretty good podcast on IGN. And he had Phil Spencer on there. Ryan McCaffrey's a cool dude. I met him at E3. I've interviewed him for TXR. He's a really cool dude. But Phil said a lot of different things on this show, so I felt it was kind of worth it to make a video and go through some of the things he said and kind of give my thoughts on some of it, right? So one of the first things they talked about was the Xbox Game Pass, which I have a video about. A lot of these things I actually do have videos about, So the Xbox Game Pass thing, he kind of talked about it as like Netflix, and he kind of hoped that like episodic games can have a start on Xbox Game Pass, which is a kind of a cool idea that I didn't really think about. Obviously, they can't control third party and what games they do use, so they're kind of hamstrung on that. But obviously, first party is something they can control, so maybe they'll release more first party games for it. But he hopes that basically developers will look at Game Pass for it to release episodic games. There is that one like Blues and Bullets, if you guys remember. I think they canceled it after 2 episodes, even though there's supposed to be another 3. Maybe that would work well for that program. But Xbox Game Pass, I have a video about it, guys, if you want to check out my full thoughts on it. Now, another thing that they talked about was moving to Sunday for E3. That was kind of big news. Once again, like I said, I have a lot of videos on it. You want to hear my thoughts on it. I think it's a pretty cool move. And they asked him why they moved it to Sunday, and he basically said that he wanted more coverage for the news that they would be dropping, and he likes the idea of opening E3. Very valid reasonings, right? Like Microsoft lately they've done it Monday. They announce whatever they're going to announce, and then Sony takes the thunder away that night. So Microsoft's thinking, Phil's thinking is at least we'll get a day to get all of our stuff, and people can digest that news. So pretty good info there. I mean, that's kind of what we thought. Of course, I was thinking maybe that means no Scorpio reveal, but here we go. Project Scorpio hinted at. Phil hinted that they have a lot to show, and he wants E3 to be about games, and maybe, quite possibly, that Project Scorpio will be revealed in its own show before E3. Now, I think this is key. I've made a video about this, where I think it's instrumental and very important that it needs to be revealed in its own event. You don't want to be E3 bogged down by hardware with like a 20-minute talk, and I think Phil understands that. So hopefully that does happen. He also mentioned that Project Scorpio is ahead of schedule. There's a lot of interest from Japanese developers. He's not going to come on there and say that Project Scorpio is behind schedule, right? And he's not going to come on there and say that the console has no interest from Japanese developers. So I kind of feel that was more PR speak. And, I know Phil pretty well. I've gotten to talk to him a lot last couple years, play a lot of games with him. So he is a genuine dude. But some of these kind of responses are just kind of like what he has to say. He's not going to say, no, guys, Project Scorpio's way behind schedule. So I believe in what he says, so yeah, I do think Project Scorpio's ahead of schedule, but he wouldn't say it, if it was behind schedule, he wouldn't say it was behind schedule. That's the kind of point that I'm trying to get. And he also mentioned that Project Scorpio's design will feel like a premium piece of hardware, but kind of still be in the same family. Interesting little nuggets of info we're getting from Phil. He also said that Project Scorpio will make it easier for the developers to target 1080p displays. I have a 4K TV. I know a lot of people don't, so that's kind of cool. They talked about VR, and he mentions he hopes that, when it comes to Windows 10 or whatever, that he doesn't want it to feel gimmicky and experimental. Kind of a shot at the VR market as it is right now, right? Sony just announced they're like 900,000. Who knows what Vive and what Oculus are at? But most of those games are kind of tech demos, or there's not actual real games. Maybe the best VR game people have said is Resident Evil 7, but he obviously wants it to be a little more developed before they do anything for it. He also mentioned Nintendo and if they asked if he would do a portable Xbox One, and then they're obviously waiting to see what Nintendo Switch does before kind of going off in that road. They mentioned Halo, which I did a video about yesterday about the simpler story, and I've actually had this conversation before with Phil about Halo 5, and when I played it, he asked me for my thoughts on it, and I said, well, when I play a mainline Halo, I want to play as Master Chief. And that's exactly what he realized. And then maybe what 343 realized is that when you play a mainline Halo game, you want to play as Master Chief. And Halo 5 only didn't feature Master Chief. It featured Agent Locke. Master Chief was only in it for 3 levels. And I think maybe they realize that now. That, okay, if we're going to do an Agent Locke game, let's do that in a side game, but let's keep the main for Halo. So I think Halo 6 will go back to the roots of just Master Chief, whether he's with his companions or not. But yeah, that's good. I mean, it's good that he realizes that. That's good that the 343 realizes that, and they've listened to the feedback, and that the story was convoluted in Halo 5 because of all the different thread points, and they want to laser focus it. So that's good because I love Halo. I want to see Halo get back to that amazing single player kind of thing again. And one of the other things they talked about, obviously, I mean, how could you not talk about Fable Legends and Lionhead getting shut down and Scalebound getting shut down, is he said that basically getting rid of those games and those studios is getting back to the core of what first-party games are, right? He said that he wants to grow and create more studios, which he's now in a position to do so, and he wants to focus on mature and interesting projects. It's an interesting kind of discussion, and I will have the link to Ryan's podcast because I think everybody, Xbox fan, PlayStation fan, should all listen to the podcast, but it's interesting that he kind of implies that some of those games were holding back development. And we've heard all, the rumors surrounding Scalebound. I know the reason why it was canceled. I'm never going to say what it is because it's not my place to say it. But same thing with Fable Legends, that it seems like getting rid of those albatrosses around their neck, so to speak, might actually be better. I remember when Phil tweeted about this, and you guys might remember this too. He said that it would be better for gamers, Xbox gamers, that Scalebound was canceled. He didn't really say that about Fable Legends, but he's throwing it in the same thing here, right? And people were like, what do you mean it's better for gamers that there gets canceled, right? Well, if he's saying it's going to lead to creating more internal studios and helping them grow and focus on more mature and interesting projects, then yeah, that is more interesting, or that is better for the Xbox gamer, because from all accounts, from what I've heard, the people who played Scalebound said it was a bad game, and it was a money hole. It had been in development for 5 years. So, I don't know. They said this frees up resources to invest in way more meaningful games. It's definitely a very interesting interview that I recommend people go and check out. But yeah, a lot of info. Phil always, when it's funny because I've had people talk to me about this, when Phil speaks, people make articles about it, people make videos about it like I'm doing right now, but he has a lot to say, right? There's a lot of good information here, and obviously E3 is going to answer a lot of people's questions about what Xbox has to show going forward. So yeah, I greatly enjoyed the interview Ryan McCaffrey did, and those guys on Podcast Unlocked. Check it out. And with that, guys, I'm gonna end the video. If you liked it, please hit that like button. Consider subscribing for more content, and I will see everybody later.